For the seventh task, we are going to go inside the views directory, and inside the views directory we create this section auth.py, which is a view that is going to handle the routes for section authentication. And this first route is going to be of post method of http, and it's going to be for login, so the name is login. So we are going to be using the dictionary get method to retrieve values from the form. So the first one is email. You say request.form.get, and we pass in email. Then we say if email is not found, we are going to return an error message with JSON file. And the message is going to be email missing. So we are going to return this with 400 bad request. And likewise, if password is not found, we are going to return the same message, but this time we are going to say password missing. Excuse me. And then if email and password are provided from the form, if it's gotten from the form, we are going to try to get the user that owns the email or users with the same email, because there is no enforcement to prevent excuse me, like two or more different users from using the same email. So we are going to put this in a try catch block, and we are going to say users is equal to user dot, we use the search because we want to search for a particular email, and we pass in the email, and the value is the email. So if there is any error during process, any kind of error, so we are going to return an error message and say no user found for this email, and also we're going to return 404, which is not found. And then again we are going to be sure that a user is found. If a user is not found, we are going to say if no user, we are going to return this same thing. Then just in case that there are more than a user using this email, we are going to pretend that this user is found. That's why I'm using plural, just to pretend like there's about more than one user. So we are going to iterate through the users found and then compare the email associated with this user with compare the password associated with this user with the password gotten from the form. So we are going to say for user in users, and then we are going to use the is valid password method. I think it's somewhere in the either user class or where is it models. I think it should be in both base model or user. Okay, it's valid method. We see that this valid method is going to compare the saved it's going to compare the saved password with the password of the user, and then it's going to return a boolean value. So we are expecting a boolean value. So we are looping through the users found, and then we are going to say that found user, but we know this is going to return a boolean if the password gotten from the form matches the password of any user. It's not going to return the user, it's going to return the boolean value. So we say user dot is valid password, and then we pass in the password, and then we are going to say that if a user is found that is linked to the password, we're going to say if we get to a point where a user is found, because this found user bool is a boolean, so but we need to capture the user that is found, so we are going to say found user is equal to the user, which is this user that is found. And then if no user is found, that is, we are coming out of this for loop, because we know that this is going to be either true or false. If no user is found, it's going to be false. So we say if not found usable, we are going to return disqualify with an error message, and it's going to say pass wrong password, and then I will not forget with 401 status code. Now that we have found the user, so we have to create a section ID for that user. That is where the create section method comes into play. This create, where is it, in auth, basic auth, sorry, I mean section auth. This create section method comes into play. So if a user is found, we are going to take this create section method and pass a user to it, and with this method we are going to generate a section ID. So but first we have to import auth from app. We know is in our app that determines the authentication method that we are using. Since we are still working on session method, so we are importing this auth from app. So we say from api.v1.app import auth, and I think I want this to be at the top here. So now that we've imported it, then we are going to call the create section method and then passing the user ID to create a section ID. So we say section ID is equal to auth dot, what is it, create section method, and then we are going to pass in the user ID. Our user, we named it found user, so dot ID. So then we are going to retrieve the environment variable, which should be the name or key of the cookie. So we are going to say section name is equal to, we are going to use this get env from OS to retrieve the value of this section name. And then we are going to create a response object with JSONify, and then we are going to pass the user found after calling to this method to convert it to user object, to convert the user object to a dictionary. So we are going to say response is equal to JSONify, and then we pass in the found user, that is the user that we found. Let me push this down. And then next is okay, I almost forgot, I have to call to JSON method to convert it to a dictionary. The user object will convert it to a dictionary before sending it as a response. But this response, we are not done. Before we send it back, we have to set a cookie. So we are going to say response dot set cookie, and then this is going to take two arguments, which is the section name, which is the one we got from the environmental variable, and then the section ID, which is this one we generated by calling the auth.create method section method. And then after this, we are going to return this response. Return the response. This response is going to contain, it's going to return first the user as Jenson, and then it's going to set the cookie. But let's not forget to import views in the Thunder init like we did before. Where should it be? Here. Yeah. So in this manner, say from session at import all. So we are going to go ahead and test this. So here we are setting the auth type, the environmental variable auth type as session auth, and then the session name is this, and I'm going to start the app. Then we are going to first down here, I don't know if I should do this, maybe I should do this Thunder client. So we want this session as a auth section. Auth section / login. So if we send the first one, we're getting what? Method not allowed. Okay, and okay, this should be a post request. If we send the first one, we are getting email missing because we are not passing any email. And if in the body I pass in an email, and then I send, I'm only passing in email without the password, we're still getting email missing. Why? Oh, so I forgot it's supposed to be a form. So what I should do is to come here and say email, and the value should be, then if I go for send, say email password, I think I made a mistake somewhere. This should be password missing. So if I do this again, getting password missing, and then if I should pass password, let's see, there is no value. My password is what? Johnson. And then if we send this, no user found for this email. Let me see. No user found for this email. That I created one. Johnson@email.com. I've forgotten my password. Okay. Let me create another one. Here. Let me change the password to Johnson. And let me run this to create another user. Okay, so I'll go back to here, and the password is going to be Johnson. So let's try again. No user found. Password. No user found. ID. First name. No user found for this email. Hold up. I said email come. Oh, so I guess I have to remove this. and then set again. Okay, I so I guess here I created this without passing .com, so that was why. So passing email and password and so on. So we see that we have the user send back, and here we are going to see we are getting a cookie, which is the um, section ID. Any other thing? Okay, so let me copy this, and I'm going to go for user/me, and I'm going to go to headers. I'm going to set a header. I'm going to set cookie, and the name is going to be my section ID. The value is going to be the section ID. So if I should send this again, okay, I think it should be a get method. So if I should send this again, okay, so we see that we are still getting the user ID because we've already logged in and we are using our cookie, which is the session ID, to access this route, because without the cookie or the authorization header, the basic auth, we cannot be able to access this. So it means that we successfully implemented this route. For this task, we will be creating this destroy session method, which will be responsible for logging a user out when called by deleting a user section from the in-memory storage. So first, we are to achieve this, we are going to start by checking if request is known. So if request is not known, we return false. Then if there is request, we are going to take it and pass it to session cookie method. You know that the session cookie method retrieves the section ID. So we say section ID is equal to self dot session cookie, and we pass in request. And then if the method could not retrieve the user section ID, if we could not retrieve it, we are going to return false. And then if the session is retrieved, the session ID is retrieved, we are going to pass it to the user ID for section ID method. We're going to say, you know that this method is going to return a user ID. It should be 4. Then we pass in the section ID. Again, we are going to check that the user ID is returned by taking this section ID as key and checking for the user ID in the in-memory storage. So we're going to say if no user ID was found, I'm writing no. If no user ID, we are going to return false as well. Then if a user ID is returned, we are going to check that such a user is in existence by checking for user ID in the user object. So we are going to say user is equal to user, we use the get method and pass in user ID. And passing user ID. And then again, we are going to check that that a user was found from using the user ID. So we say if not user, if the user is not found, also return false. Then if all the checks pass, confirming that a user has a section saved in the in-memory storage, we are now going to delete the value of that section by passing the key, this session ID, to the in-memory storage and then delete it. So we are going to do this in a try except block. So we are going to say self dot user, and then we pass in the session ID, and then we use the del keyword to delete the value, and then we accept should be key error. If there is any key error, if it doesn't exist, we pass. After that, we finally return true. Then next is to go to the views and create a logout route. So inside these views, I've already declared created the route app the views, and it's going to be a delete method, and the function is going to be logout, which is going to return an empty dictionary if it's successful, or return a response which is abort 404 if it's not successful. So first we are going to import auth from app.py from api.v1.app, because we know that we can be able to access the current auth type, which is section auth, from this auth variable. So then we are going to call the destroy section method that we just created, and then pass in the request from Flask. And if the request has a section ID, the method is going to delete it and log out the user. So we are going to say auth.destroy section, and we pass in request. Then we save it to this variable. Then we know that this destroy section is going to return a boolean. It's going to return true if the section was deleted, and false if it wasn't deleted. So let's say if it returns false, we are going to return abort 404, meaning that there is no section ID for this user that's trying to access the logout route. And if a request was found and the session was deleted, we're going to return an empty dictionary and a response of 200. So we are going to test it out. I'll open my panel, is at the side here, and then I'll start my app, and the auth type is section auth, section name is this, and here we are going to try to log in with the this user that I created area. So you have to create yours too if you are yet to do so. Yeah, this one. So I think I have something here. Login. So we are going for this. Let me close this. We're going for this login route first, so we can be able to get a section ID, and I'm passing in my email and password because this user already exists. And here we are seeing where the cookie is being set as my session ID. So I'm going to try to access another page. Where is it? This page, this user slash me, by passing in the cookie, because without the cookie we won't be able to access the path. So I'll take out this one that I previously used, and then I'll press this one, and we see that the route is accessible because we've logged in. And then I'm going to try the logout route. This logout route, we're going to try it, and I'm going to be passing the same cookie, and we see that an empty dictionary is returned. So I'm going to try to access the, let's say, this route again. I'm supposed to be getting the 404. Oh, is it 404? Okay, it's not 404. I'm supposed to be getting forbidden because forbidden, where is, should be users.